Oh my goodness. This is so delicious.
Hello my people. See, today we are traveling to Mogamo. See, this dish we are about to prepare today is so loved and cherished by the Mogamos. That's my tribe. See, don't try it. So we are going to be making bitter leaf soup, but we call it ton or country bitter leaf. You can call it like that. So to make this dish, we need bitter leaf, we need chicken, and so this is the preferred chicken that is meant for this dish. You can use goat meat, but today I am going with chicken. And don't use any regular chicken, use the hard hen. If you're in the United States or if you live in the diaspora, use the hard hen chicken. You can always find this in the African stores or some Asian stores. They do have theirs, but it's whole. You have to cut it. So see, this chicken itself, just boiling it, has that flavor, gives you that aromatic country style that you're looking for. And bitter leaf is so medicinal that a lot of people still don't know about it. I am washing it and making sure I remove all the half feathers that were not properly removed, and then I scrape the skin like that. I really want to make sure it is clean. See, I don't want to be eating my chicken and I discover some dark things like some awful things that I was supposed to have removed. So that's why I'm taking my time. I usually spend a lot of time trying to really wash my chicken. As you can see, you want to make sure it's very clean. And this is not the regular chicken. This is the hard hen, because the hard hen is almost like the chicken we have back home. By the time you start cooking your traditional dishes that require chicken using this hard hen, you will never want to use a regular chicken for it because you feel like you've been wasting your time. So most people do ask my secret. I'll be telling you the secret to my signature bitter leaf soup at the end. See, I have made bitter leaf a lot of times, and anybody who has ever tasted my bitter leaf soup keeps like, girl, I feel like I'm back home. They just keep telling me they feel like they're back home, but they're thousands of miles away from home. But making people feel like they're visiting home just from your cooking is something that is so special. You make, like, cooking this dish and serving people, make them kind of think like those olden days. Like, you think about those precious moments with your grandmother in the kitchen, precious moments that you have to run around and go catch the hen or the cock, and let's kill for some special dignitaries, for some dignitaries or some special people that are visiting, or for some special occasions, and so on and so forth. See, this chicken is one to die for. Not only the chicken, the bitter leaf soup is so special and so unique to the Batibo people, to the Mogamos. So if you want to really know more about the bitter leaf soup, the history behind this bitter leaf soup, how it all came about, why it is so special from all other recipes that Batibo people do like or the Mogamos do enjoy, visit my website, my blog. You can visit my blog to learn more about this signature, special, most cherished, most loved Mogamo dish, traditional dish. Like, this is our signature. We are known for this. We are known by this. We are identified by this. So if you want to really know the story behind this very delicious meal, visit my blog reallytastycooking.com, and you will know all about, you will learn all about the history and everything, and the insights, the benefits, what have you. So we now have a blog, yo. It's amazing, and it's been a journey, and we want to make this memorable. We don't just want to give you dishes that you eat, especially our traditional dishes. We really want to tell you the inside of it, like how it all came about. So if you really want to know more about most dishes, especially the traditional ones that I cook, you want to visit my blog, and we have all the beautiful stories that are on the site to keep you entertained and all that. So if you have 2 hours to spare, you can always put this on the stove and then you engage yourself with other activities around the house. But if you don't have the 2 hours to spare, you can use a pressure cooker if you have one. A pressure cooker takes just 30 minutes to boil this. But today I want to go the traditional way. Like, I want to cook everything using a stove. If I had my way, I would use the fireside, but since I don't have that, I can't access a fireside, we'll be using the stove. Today we'll be enjoying our bitter leaf soup with unripe plantains. I peel my plantains, like I think I already showed you, there's a video I showed you how to peel your plantains. Okay, so after washing your plantains very well and then cutting them in half, you see that? You want to put your water above the plantains, way above the plantains, and then you add a tablespoon of salt. Some people boil their plantains without salt, but it's so tasteless. Like, if you boil your plantains with salt, even if the soup is not enough, you can as well still manage. But boiling the plantains without salt doesn't make sense to me. So you will be washing the bitter leaf. Even though it's already washed, but you want to still wash it very well, because you don't want your soup to be very bitter, or you don't want your soup to be sandy. So to eliminate the bitter taste of the soup, we are going to be using limestone. I went ahead to boil my water first because I always love to boil the water before adding my bitter leaf to it. So in a bowl of hot water, look at the quantity. This is the quantity of limestone I'm going to be using. So I'm just going to put it in there. I don't know if you can see right there. So I'm going to let it dissolve, reason being that I really want to avoid as much sand as possible. So if you just take it straight away and just put it directly, you might end up having a lot of sand in your bitter leaf. Sometimes while boiling the bitter leaf, it can be really foamy, so you want to tilt the lid like that. So now we are going to be washing the bitter leaf. I am going to wash this and change the water for about 4 to 5 times. Okay family, so it's been 2 hours of cooking our chicken. I did do other things and the time really passed by without me noticing. The chicken was just there cooking on its own, seasoned and all that. So now it's ready, and I did check in between, and now you can see the chicken is ready and all the water that did cover the chicken is almost dried out. So to make this bitter leaf, we are starting to make the bitter leaf. You don't want too much water because the water is actually going to be drying out. So first I'm going to start by adding my crayfish. There was a day I was cooking this bitter leaf and a friend of mine visited and she was like, do they put crayfish in bitter leaf? I told her, just wait and see. This crayfish changes the entire game, trust me, like it changes everything. So I'm going to let this crayfish cook for about 5 minutes, and then so it's been 5 minutes. You're going to taste for seasoning. Man, this tastes so delicious. And remember, I always put maggi crevette whenever I'm using crayfish. So I added 2 seasoning cubes before boiling the chicken and a tablespoon of salt. And the salt is enough. I don't think I need to add some more salt. But depending on the quantity you're cooking, you might want to add more salt. So this is maggi crevette that I'm adding. And it will be enough. Plus the crayfish and everything will be so sweet. And now this is our already washed bitter leaf. You can see how fresh this is looking and all clean. So now I'm adding the bitter leaf. You want to stir very well and make sure it is well mixed. You want to make sure the seasonings are up to your taste and a little sweet. Just a little, slightly a little bit, because the bitter leaf is not salted or anything, it's cold. It's going to bring down the taste of the bitter leaf soup. So you want to make sure it's a little sweet than you want it to be. So the bitter leaf now, when you add it, will balance everything together. Look at the mixture. See, I am going to be adding my palm oil. This is the actual palm oil from the tall palm trees. I got this from an African store in Colorado. They usually like he has different types of palm oil, dollar grocery. But this, you see how it's looking like this is the real deal. This palm oil. Don't want to go too crazy on the palm oil, so you add gradually, mix, and see if you need to add more, because it's one soup that we actually need palm oil to be all over, but you don't want to go too crazy with the palm oil. You see there? Now we are going to let it dry, like all the water has to be completely dry until it burns underneath. But after 5 minutes of cooking, we are going to be adding the most important when it comes to bitter leaf, like the real country bitter leaf is a must-have. But if you can't afford that, I'll tell you the alternative that you can use in the place of that. The sound you are hearing is because the water is completely dry. And now we are going to be adding the one bread signature, like that signature, that main ingredient that actually makes this dish a signature dish. So it's scent leaf. This is dried scent leaf. We call it massopo in Cameroon, but it's scent leaf. And if you're in the United States, you don't have access to this, you can always find it on Etsy website. They do sell it, not the fresh one, the dry one though. But this one is straight from Cameroon. And I want to really give a big thank you to all my aunts and mothers who did put in effort to actually dry this and send to me, because it's not something that you can easily find. And even if you do find it, it's in very little quantities because people use it a lot. The aroma just changed. Like, this is it. Anybody coming to visit me will perceive this right from the entrance, because this is one dish that gets all over the place. And so if you don't have access to scent leaf, you can use mint leaf. Usually at times when I don't have the scent leaf, I go with mint leaf and it works just perfect. Like, it works just fine. Try it. I don't have a sample for the mint leaf to show you, but you can always use mint leaf. Let's get burnt to give us that aroma. So we are going to cover it and cook it on low for 10 more minutes. Okay family, so it's been 2 hours. We ended up boiling the plantains for 2 hours because 1 hour 30 minutes wasn't enough. So you can see our plantains are beautifully boiled. Now I am going to show you the trick I told you about to keep your plantains soft even overnight. Now for the trick that I told you, first you're going to start by draining out the hot water if you still have any. We are going to be adding cold water, like cold room temperature water to the plantains, to the hot plantains while it is still hot. As soon as you take it off from the fire, you pour out the hot water and then you cover it up with cold water. You want the plantains to be totally covered, and then I'll let this sit here for 10 to 15 minutes. After 10 to 15 minutes, you can throw out the water and then remove your plantains. It is good to go. Okay, my people, that bitter leaf soup is ready. Ton bitter leaf mbut. See, we have several names of calling this. This is one unique special dish, like I told you from the beginning, for the Mogamos. This is so unique, so special, very nutritive, very delicious, and what have you. Please let me know your feedbacks if you actually did try this recipe, what you think about it, and your own experience. We really want to know. And if you have any dish you want us to try, do let us know in the comment section so we can bring it to you. On this channel, we give you just the best, like we give you detailed recipes, not keeping anything away.